Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM23 Lions, episode 145. The dreaded Windows bug that I always encounter every time I do a Windows update. It messes with my settings in OBS, and I have a system in place to check it, verify that it's working, and I remember to do it 5 out of 6 times, and those 5 times, there's never an issue with it. It's always the one time that I forget to check it that there ends up being an issue, and that's here. So I'm lacking audio and having to re-record the game, which actually ends up speeding the episode up quite a bit in the aftermath. Anyway, we are headed into La Vuelta, but before we get there, an update on our rankings. Not that it's going to matter as we are ending at the end of this season, but the team's rankings for the first time is comfortable Continental Pro. Ranked 26th currently, with all of the 5.5 star and better talent gone. In fact, there's only 5-star riders left out there on the market. So it's pretty well established at this point in that 1 to 2 positions, give or take, as riders develop before the end of the season, even though we're still just into August. With that being said, our La Vuelta competition, the opposition for this race is looking good, but not the deepest field ever. A few of the favorites, defending champion Ayuso is here, Carlos Rodriguez, and Vingegaard, the top 3, the podium from last year. All 3 of them are here. Beyond that, there's a couple other contenders, Petrovic, Gregoire, who's not a great mountain guy, but so dangerous in the medium and punchiness, and hangs in there enough on the mountains that he's still a threat, and Vlasov. Guys that have either won in recent years or have been well placed, and Pellizzari also, who won a couple years back. So really, we've got our last, I think it is 3 winners, our entire last podium. It's not going to be an easy race, but I'm still optimistic that we can crack the top 5 finally in this race. As we head into stage 1, which is a prologue, it's not really a time trial, it's only 7K. Fatigue, not a major issue for anyone, but Sammy Arab does have a little bit of fatigue. I know the recent part is behind the face cam, but it's not changed much from where it is, where the mouse was showing a second ago, that 30 to 40% range. So he will suffer from some fatigue during this race, but it should be minor until the last days of it. A lot of +2s out there. The zeros we have are because it's day 1. Once they get to day 2, that motivation will be there, and those guys will all be on +2. So everybody's got the coming fitness peak. Everybody's got the objective. Everybody's got high fitness percent. Hopefully Henok is okay, as he's feeling a little under the weather entering the race. But as for the fitness peaks, Benuna, Isaacs are very close to having theirs. Arab, Samuels, Shimway, and Henok will all have theirs pretty soon. Maybe within about a week, give or take a couple days on those guys. Meaning we should be pretty well set for good race day condition bonuses through most of this race. So into stage 1, and already we are setting off with Benuna, one of our later riders on this 7.5 kilometer prologue / time trial. This is that 87 to 88 mixed territory early on. It's a little bit hilly. The biggest hill is right here as you come up on that first checkpoint. So it's a good point to push that a little bit harder through that stage. The second half of this course is pretty technical, and with all those +2 expected for most of the guys, we had a couple with negative race day conditions in the red, but minor. We had plenty of +2s along the way. We've had decent draws so far, but Benuna gets a +5, so big draw for him, +3 draw to what was expected. So pushing on with him, you can see he's in the top 20 for the first check, and as we approach the finish line, 11th place, 23 seconds down. None of our riders are great prologuers. We've got a couple decent time trialers here, but on the whole, outside of Samuels, who's just abysmal as a time trialist, everybody so far has put in solid times inside a minute of Antonio Pupio, the Italian who leads the way ahead of Ghana, actually. And we get ready to set off with Sammy Arab for his. Looking at that draw, it looks like we are spot on with that +2, which was exactly what was expected for him today. And it is That gives him a 79 prologue. Should be able to put in a pretty decent performance with that, but it won't be amazing, especially with everybody else's bonuses. 30th, 16 seconds down at the first check. We got lots of guys here that are mid 80s, so we're just not going to compete with them. But as we go into the final 1.5 kilometers here, Arab still has a little bit left to make a little push. What can he do towards the finish line? We're going to use up that last ounce of energy, and that's just a half minute down. Very competitive time, 20th for now, 33 seconds behind guys who are not GC contenders. That's going to give them a pretty decent start point. And we jump forward to stage 3. Stage 2 was a sprint stage. So stage 3 started out really hard. It's a medium mountain stage. It finishes with a 9K climb. And unfortunately, for a stage 3 scenario, the breakaway had way too much leeway. There was 13 riders. They were given a near 6-minute advantage. And at about 60K to go, whoever was leading the peloton or the teams that were leading the peloton decided that they were going to really, really put their foot down. We don't have good flat ratings in our team, so even protecting riders, we lack that protection. And so as we approach the climb with 10K to go, there's fatigue, top to bottom within the team. We are half gone already. Now, hopefully, some of the riders in the field did not have much support on this flat section, and hopefully they're feeling it too as we head in with now dropping down to 100 riders at the actual base of the climb. Even though we are fairly fatigued at the base of this climb, I'm still optimistic that we could catch some riders out, catch some GC guys out, and cost them a lot of time. So I'm going to be aggressive on this one. Might not be the best call, but we're going to give it a shot. Henok goes early, and now on to Shimwe. Haptum was a little far behind. He never recovered his position. I tried to conserve on that pre-climb, that Cat 3 climb that we had, as you're seeing an attempt to attack here by Fuentes. But Ashimwe is going to now take over. We're definitely not going full gas. I mean, we're way too tired for that. You can see Arab is still at that halfway mark with 6K to go. So on to Ashimwe. Push it a little bit harder. And again, rider by rider, it's kind of looking at what is their strength. As Isaacs is getting ready to take over. 5.3K, so we only got 700 meters from Ashimwe on that. Probably shouldn't have pushed quite that hard to be able to get that. Would have liked to have gotten another 500 meters out of him or so. So Isaacs definitely going to push less hard. A 90 for him as he goes. And again, keeping an eye on Samuels and Arab. And now there's less protection in front of them. So even though we're not pushing as hard, they're feeling it more. But we are catching that breakaway pretty quick, and we are finally actually starting to do the damage to the peloton. There's still 90 riders there. We've only dropped 10 at this point, which is crazy. We've gone 6K climbing hard tempo, and we've dropped 10 riders. Like, what was everybody else doing for that 60K when we were chasing like crazy? Were they all taking a nap and got dropped off at the base of the climb? Feels like it at this point. Let's hope we still have enough firepower, because suddenly I'm down to 4 riders at 4K, and we're a bit tired. And honestly, I was not recognizing just how tired we are at this point. Benuna, I'm only pushing a 90. He's out of red bar, and here's already a mistake where I push him back up to 99 to get the last little bit out of him. We got him inside 3K, which I'm kind of going 1K each guy, right? 1K each guy makes sense. But I upped him to that 99 and had him push on. And now we're on to Matoni at 2.3K. But again, there's suddenly nothing left in the tank for Matoni, Samuels, or Arab. They're all feeling it. But we have split the field. We're down to just 24 riders. Fuentes actually at the front. And here goes Gregoire preparing to attack. And Matoni lasted 400 meters on the front. I'm down to 2K. Samuels and Arab both tired, so I'm only riding in 85. I'm definitely starting to recognize the errors of my ways here. And for Samuels, we've already covered more than a kilometer, and at 1K to go, he is just about out. We tried to just sit on for a little bit there, and now at 600 meters, he's done. So we're on to Arab, and I make my second mistake where I just hit effort up, and he was auto set at a 99. I didn't pause. I should have micromanaged and changed that to an 85 or an 80 and tried to hold position. It burnt that red bar faster than it should have, and we dropped ground fast. Even without it, we were losing ground anyway. Right? The error came earlier on the climb, especially that 2.5, 3 kilometer territory where I should have recognized how tired they were and backed off much sooner than I did. That was the real error. But that little minute error at the end with that 1 second of effort up at 99 before I dropped it down real fast, it was 1 second. That was it. But in that 1 second, it ate up a lot of that red bar, and it absolutely cost us probably 10 to 15 seconds because we burnt through that red bar and lost pace. And that didn't end up being a great performance. It was 16th for Arab, 17th for Samuels. Petrovic and Gregoire attacked early, and they gained about half a minute. The chasers, Almeida, that group comes in at about 30 to 50 seconds down. I end up at 117, and like I said, I would have been about 10 seconds better, maybe a minute down, just over a minute down. I would have preferred that. But in the end, after a good prologue, it balances itself out at least a fair bit. And we find ourselves inside the top 10 after just 3 stages in 9th place, just a handful of seconds off of 6th. Absolutely in striking position, and with only a few guys that are strong time trialists and strong climbers. And then after that, you're looking at just very good climbers like Arab and non-time trialists. I'm hopeful that you've got a few guys that are going to be difficult to chase, difficult to compete with, and can probably run away with the podium. But if it starts to open up a gap to the others, I'm hoping to slot in between those two groups. Slot in behind those elite guys who we know from plenty of experience. We're just not at that level. Arab, Hanoch, Samuels, none of them are at that level. +5 every day? Sure, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. Those other days, the couple minutes here, the couple minutes there, we're always going to end up being 5+ minutes behind those guys. But if we can beat out the best of the rest, we could see ourselves in the top 5. And we're not in a bad position right now. There certainly is no pressure on us right now. But there's a lot of stages to come. There's a few nasty hill stages that I'm going to have to sit through so that we don't lose time on those. Plenty of medium mountain stages and not too many mountaintop finishes to this race. Not many. Not the hardest variety ones anyway. So I'm optimistic that we can find ourselves pretty competitive in this one. I'm really hoping we can crack that top 5. That stage 3, that one hurt a little bit, but like I said, only about 15 seconds, or really it might have been more, but the field does blow up. We benefited from it to an extent, but we also certainly got hurt from it a little bit as well, as a few guys that I think we should be competing with ended up finishing ahead of us there. That is going to do it for this episode. I know it's really short, but this is that re-record of audio, and it's pretty late. It's a Sunday. It's not supposed to be my recording time, but here we are as I'm preparing to end the weekend. Weekends, I try to take off and do all my work during the week, so I had to give an extra session for this one. But thank you for being here with me. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.